Okay, kids, there's one other thing that you're going to need, okay? And it's this Google Chrome browser. Okay, now this is just going to make your life a lot easier if you type in Google Chrome, just like that, into Google. And you could go here and download and install Google Chrome. Make sure you're downloading it from the Google Chrome website. So, and you'll select this and download Google Chrome. Okay, very easy task. So pause the video and get that downloaded. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to use illustrations to help you understand more about web development. Okay, and so I want you first of all to picture in your mind right here. I want you to picture a house. Let me get a picture of a house here. So let me preview this little house. And you notice if you look at this house, we have a ceiling and we have a floor. Okay? So picture yourself in a room and you have a ceiling and a floor. All right? So let's fire up that notepad++ editor. Okay? And the first thing that we have to do is we have to give our web page a ceiling and a floor. How are we going to give it a ceiling and a floor? Well, we do that with tags. So if we type in HTML, just like this, that will give it the ceiling. So how do we give it the floor so we can put content inside that, you know? Well, what we do is we just go down to the next space and put a slash, arrow to the left and slash, and type in the exact same thing. Okay, so this gives us a house. This gives us a ceiling and a floor, or a roof and a basement, however you want to see it. All right. So now that we have ceiling and floor, that we need to put a person in there. Okay. So let's look at a picture of a person. A person has a head, and they got body, and they got feet. Okay. So that's what we got to remember. They got head, body, and feet. And so what we want to do is inside our HTML, the first thing what we're going to need is a head so let's make a little person in here. Let's give him a head, and we have to close off his head, all right, just like that. And then we have to give him a body, just like that. Okay. Now within this body, we have to give him some feet. So let's go ahead and give him some footers, right? Just like that. Okay, now let me explain to you what's going on here. So here we have our ceiling. Here we have our floor. Okay? Here we have the top of the head. And here we have the bottom of the head. And here we have the body, the top of the body, and the end of the body. And in the body we put the footers. And this is how it's all arranged. Now it kind of looks a little bit confusing right there. So what we kind of do as web developers is we'll like highlight these two lines and hit tab on our keyboard just to move that over a little bit, okay? Just to give it some separation. And then sometimes we'll just highlight them all at the same time, just move them over like that. And sometimes before we start coding, we'll leave the tags side by side just like that and let us know that there's nothing in there. Okay, so now we know that there's something in body. And what's great about using Notepad++ is you'll notice whenever you click on those different tags, it'll let you know where the closing tag is. Okay? So let's put some content in our body and save this file, and we'll check it out. So in our body, let's put a heading tag with inside the body. So let's type H1 just like that, and a closing H1, and put hi kids, just like that. Okay? And let's see what that does whenever we put it into a browser. What we want to do is we want to click File, Save As, and this is the important thing. Right down here, we want to use hypertext markup language. So let's scroll down through here. Let's see if we can find hypertext markup language. HTML. There it is, hypertext markup language. Do you see that? That's what we want to save it. We want to save it as an HTML. And let's give this a file name of index.html, just like that. So we're defining what type of file it is in index. Now let's go to our desktop and find that folder that we created earlier. Okay, so let's find it. And I think it was like Web Kids or something. If you haven't created a folder on your desktop, you should have. But this is where you could create another folder. Click New, Folder, and we're going to call it Web Kids, just like that. Okay? And then we're going to save this file in there. Okay? Now if we go to our desktop, and we should be able to see that we have Web Kids in there. Let me drag this over so you can see it. And I'll minus these down. And here we go. We have our Web Kids folder. Okay, now I'm going to put this right over here on my desktop, and I'm going to try to arrange stuff a little bit different so I could see them a little bit more clearly. And so I'm going to take my Notepad++ document, and I'm going to shrink it down about halfway, just like this, so I can still see it, but you know, I want to be able to see my Web Kids folder over here. In fact, let me put the Web Kids folder over here on the right. Now the next thing I'm going to fill up with this space is a Google Chrome, just a blank browser. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to put this over here and put it side by side so I can have two different windows. Alright, now my Web Kids folder, I want to open it up, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just take this little thing that we've created with Notepad++, I'm going to drag it, I'm just going to drop it right into my Google Chrome browser. I'll open this up a little bit and you can see that I said, "Hi kids." Okay, maybe we'll add some more content in there. Maybe we'll put a paragraph tag. So a paragraph tag is like this, and you'll notice that on my HTML editor it already puts the closing tag on there for the end of it. So this is Maximus with a1websitepro.com, just like that. Okay, and now I'm going to hit Control S to save this file, and whenever I go over here and refresh, you could see here it is that it appears. Pretty cool, huh? Maybe we can add something else too. Let's add another P tag. Alright, do you like web development? Just like that. And we'll go ahead and save it. Refresh over here, and you'll notice it puts it on the next line. So these P tags tell this browser, hey, this goes on the next line, and that's what the closing tag does too. So let's put something in the footer. Okay, maybe we'll put let's try an H4 tag in the footer. Okay, put this is the footer, just like that. Okay, and then maybe so we have a little bit of separation, we'll tab this over a little bit so we know that, you know, things are going in the footer. In fact, I like to keep my footer in line with my body tag actually. So I'll highlight this line 7, and I'll bring it back to in line with the body. Okay, and then I'll move these P tags over by highlighting them and just hitting tab. Now to move back, I hold Shift and tab, and just to move forward, I hit tab. So it's a nice little thing that us developers get into doing, so we try to make our workflow go a little bit easier. So let's refresh this page over here and see if we can get this H4 tag in there, and refresh it. And you notice it's a little bit darker, it has the H4. And if you ever want to inspect the HTML of a website, you just right click, View Page Source, and you'll notice this right here is the same as this. Okay? Now what about this title up here? Notice how it says index.html. How did that get there? Okay? Well, let's go back over to the head tag, and we'll tell it, hey, we want to use our own title, you know. So we're going to go inside the head tag here. Let me put tab, and let's write title. You'll notice it gives me head and opening and closing. And we'll call this Kids Web Development. Just like that. And we'll go ahead and save that. And you'll notice when we refresh here, notice the title changes up here to Kids Web Development. Now you don't have it down here because remember in the head, this is where the brains are. Okay? So this is telling the browser, hey, the name of this particular page is called Kids Web Development. And you can see it up there. If you hover over it, you can see that little line. Okay, so this is your first HTML lesson. I hope that you've been able to follow along just fine. If you need any help or anything, don't forget to comment below, and I'll talk to you in a little bit.